My fiancée demanded my house and half my business in a prenup. When I refused, her daughter called me selfish. So I crushed their gold-digging plan and walked away. Hello Reddit I+ here. I42M thought I had finally found stability again after years of being divorced. My ex-wife and I split almost a decade ago, and since then, I've built my life from the ground up. I own a mid-sized construction company that I started with a loan and my own sweat, and 3 years ago, I finally bought the house I always dreamed of. It wasn't a mansion, but it was mine. Paid off, modern, spacious, and most importantly, it was proof of everything I'd worked for. 2 years ago, I met Lisa, 39F. She was charming, funny, and at first, felt like the complete opposite of my ex. She worked part-time in an interior design firm, had a grown daughter, Maya, 20F, and made it clear she wanted something serious. For a while, everything seemed great. Lisa loved hosting dinner parties at my place, always telling people how perfectly decorated it was. Her daughter Maya, who lived with her, slowly started spending weekends at my house too. I didn't mind at first. I thought maybe I could be a supportive figure in her life, but little things started to bother me. Maya always had comments like, Mom deserves to live in a place like this after everything she's been through. Why don't you guys just combine everything? Wouldn't that make more sense for a future together? If you love her, you should make sure she's secure. At first, I brushed it off as a kid who wanted the best for her mom, but it kept escalating. Then came the prenup conversation. Lisa sat me down one evening and said she wanted to protect her future. Which, fine, I'm not against prenups at all. In fact, I expected one. But what she put in front of me wasn't a prenup. It was a straight-up heist. The draft she handed me, which her lawyer friend helped her with, said, if we divorced, she would get 50% of my business. My house would automatically transfer into both of our names. She'd get full access to my retirement accounts. I laughed at first because I thought it was a joke, but she was dead serious. I told her flat out, this isn't a prenup. This is you trying to rob me blind. That's when Maya chimed in. She was sitting at the kitchen island, and without missing a beat, she said, you're being selfish. My mom deserves security. After all she's been through with men, you should want to take care of her. I swear, my blood pressure spiked so high in that moment, I thought I'd pass out. I asked her, and what exactly have you been through that entitles you to half my life's work? Maya rolled her eyes, and Lisa just sat there silent. That silence told me everything. It wasn't about love. It wasn't about partnership. It was about them circling me like vultures, waiting for me to hand over everything I'd bled for. And here's where it gets worse. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went through my phone, our messages, the way Lisa's behavior had shifted over time. I noticed she had gradually stopped working full-time. She'd been subtly moving more of her stuff into my place without asking. She'd been encouraging me to take more time off and let her handle things. Then I checked something I had ignored before, her social media. Old posts from before she met me painted a very different picture. Multiple posts about how she deserved a man who could give her the life she wanted, about how men are only useful if they provide, and one that made my stomach drop, a picture of her and Maya, with the caption, one day we'll have everything we deserve. Men owe us that much. I realized I wasn't a partner to them. I was a target, so I played it cool. For 2 weeks, I acted normal, smiled, went to dinners, let them think I was thinking it over. Behind the scenes, I went to my lawyer. I updated my will, secured my business under a trust, and even checked the deed on my house to make sure nothing could be tampered with. Then I quietly pulled back from combining finances, stopped paying for their extras, and cut off any leeway. Then came the night I decided to end it. We were at dinner, and Lisa brought up the prenup again. Maya chimed in about how I was dragging my feet, and how a real man would sign without hesitation if he actually cared. I put my fork down and said, loud enough for both of them to hear clearly, a real man doesn't get manipulated into giving away his life's work to a woman and her daughter who see him as a wallet. I'm not your ticket to security, I'm not your retirement plan, and I'm definitely not going to let two opportunists strip me dry. Maya's face turned red immediately and she stormed out. Lisa tried to cry, saying I was misinterpreting everything, but I wasn't buying it. I showed her the screenshots of her old posts and said, you planned this. You and your daughter both. But here's the thing. You picked the wrong man. I built everything I have once. I won't let you take it from me. She sputtered, tried to backpedal, and when she realized I was serious, she went cold. She finally snapped, fine, you'll regret this. No one else is going to love you the way I do. I laughed in her face. If this is your version of love, I'd rather die alone. I walked out of that restaurant, blocked her number, and never looked back. The fallout was brutal for her. Mutual friends told me she had been bragging for months that she was set for life once we got married. When the truth came out, she lost a lot of sympathy. Even her daughter stopped posting pictures of them living luxury weekends at my house. Meanwhile, I feel free. I dodged the biggest bullet of my life. And the lesson? Sometimes betrayal doesn't come in the form of cheating. Sometimes it comes dressed as love, but with a calculator in hand, waiting for the moment to cash you out. After I walked out of that restaurant, I honestly thought that would be the end of it. But no, that's when things got uglier. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from an attorney. Lisa was seeking compensation for time invested in the relationship and contributions she supposedly made toward my business and home. I nearly laughed myself out of my chair reading it. Contributions? The only thing she contributed was criticism about how my kitchen wasn't up to her standards, while she and her daughter enjoyed wine nights on my dime. I immediately called my lawyer. He looked at the letter and shook his head. This is weak. She doesn't have a leg to stand on. But it looks like she's trying to scare you into settling. That's exactly what it was. A pressure tactic. Lisa started blowing up my phone, leaving voicemails crying about how I was abandoning her after everything she sacrificed. Her daughter, Maya, even sent me a long text accusing me of ruining her mom's life and saying I was just like every other selfish man who uses women and throws them away. The irony nearly choked me. I ignored them. Blocked numbers, blocked emails. My lawyer told me not to engage directly. But then came the court summons. Yep, she actually filed a civil claim, demanding equitable compensation for the 2 years we were together. According to her filing, she had helped me grow my business and invested emotional labor that warranted financial reimbursement. Let me translate that. She washed a few dishes, picked out a lamp for my living room, and sat in my hot tub while I was out working 12-hour days. The court date came, and I showed up prepared. Lisa walked in with Maya by her side, both dressed like they were going to a funeral. Maya wouldn't even look at me. She had that smug, self-righteous face plastered on like she was already celebrating victory. Lisa's lawyer tried to paint me as some greedy, heartless man who exploited her. He pulled out pictures of us at vacations, which I paid for, receipts for dinners, again me, and even claimed she had turned my house into a home. My lawyer calmly countered every single point. We showed that the house was bought and paid for before I even met her. We showed tax records proving that my business had grown steadily for years, long before she came into the picture. We even showed that her so-called design work in my home was just her telling me I needed a different rug. The judge was clearly unimpressed with her side. At one point, he asked point blank, "Ma'am, can you show any financial records that prove you contributed to this man's business or property?" She stammered and said, "Well, I supported him emotionally, and my daughter encouraged him to take risks." The courtroom went silent for a moment. Then the judge said, "Emotional support and encouragement are not legally compensable financial contributions." Case dismissed. Maya gasped like someone had slapped her. Lisa turned beet red and tried to argue, but the gavel came down hard. Case closed. I walked out of that courtroom feeling 10 feet tall. Lisa and Maya were left standing there looking like their world had collapsed, which, in a way, it had, because their little gold-digging plan had been dragged into the light for everyone to see. But here's the part that sealed it for me. A week later, a mutual friend called me and said Lisa had been ranting that she wasted 2 years of her life on me, and that men like me should be forced to provide after taking the best years of a woman's life. Let me remind you, this woman was 39 years old, with a 20-year-old daughter, and had been circling me like a hawk because she saw dollar signs. And somehow I had stolen her best years? That's when it hit me fully. They didn't want love. They wanted leverage. So I did the smartest thing I've ever done in my life. I walked away completely. No more contact. No revenge. No explanations. Just silence. I poured myself back into my business, reconnected with real friends, and even took my first proper vacation alone. It was the most peaceful time I've had in years. And you know what? The house feels lighter without them in it. My business is thriving because I'm not bleeding money on constant needs and upgrades. And for the first time in a long time, I don't feel like someone's waiting in the shadows with their hands out. Lisa and Maya? Last I heard, Maya dropped out of college because her mom couldn't afford the tuition without my help, and Lisa had to downsize to a smaller apartment. Do I feel guilty? Not even a little. I worked my ass off to build a life. If someone wants to share it, they need to come with love, respect, and partnership, not a calculator and a prenup designed to bleed me dry. So here's the lesson, Reddit. If someone demands half of what you own before you even say I do, they're not looking for a marriage. They're looking for a payday. And me? I'd rather stay single forever than ever fall for that trap again. A month after the court tossed out Lisa's case, I thought it was over. But then I found out something insane. Maya had secretly been recording me at home, trying to build evidence that I was financially supporting them like a spouse would. Problem is, the recordings just showed me paying bills and saying things like, "No, I'm not covering that. Ask your mom." Basically proof I wasn't giving them a dime beyond normal dates and groceries. When my lawyer got wind of it, he warned them that secretly recording me without consent could backfire legally. Suddenly, all the threats, texts, and calls stopped cold. That was the last I ever heard from either of them. In the end, they tried love bombing, manipulation, court, and even spying, but nothing stuck. I walked away with everything I built, and they were left with nothing but their own greed. And honestly, that silence is the sweetest victory of all.